fall. I won't shed a tear for them to see. I won't have your name to call. 'Cause I will be the last to fall.
With over 24% of the 1.9 billion square acres in America alone, the mountains that so many people call home are also host to some of the most incredible mysteries in the world. The missing, the murdered, strange creatures, unexplained lights, and sightings of unidentified objects. These stories may be strange, they may be sad, they may be odd, but they are mysterious. These are the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings. And now, live from the Pantry Studio, broadcast to all time zones around the world, with listeners of the podcast in the United States, Canada, Germany, Norway, India, the United Kingdom, and more. These are the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings. Now, your host, Chris Sloan.
I forgot to click the button. Yeah, there's buttons on this thing that you got to click to make it work. So anyways, the internet connection tonight is just a little bit intermittent, so kind of look over that. First off, thanks a lot for tuning in. I really appreciate that. And I'm really glad that you're here because we've got a lot going on. I've not stopped, it seems like, in the last several days. And you know what? That's okay. I will be joining the chat room here in a minute. But first, I want to thank our Patreon supporters because without these guys, this wouldn't be happening. This is getting bigger and bigger. And now more than ever, we need some support. You can get onto Patreon and for as little as $3 a month, get early access. And of course, the higher in tiers you go, the more stuff you get. So thanks to Yanni Burton, Mackenzie Banks, and Stephen Stepp. That's our newest Patreon supporters. We really appreciate you. We're up to 18. I'm hoping to get another 7 by month's end. I want to dispel a little bit of confusion. What you're watching right now is the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings. This is not the podcast, even though it could very well be going to a video format. That is apparently exactly where it's going because that's where a lot of people are really wanting to see more. So that means that the cameras are coming. One of them has been ordered. I think we're getting ready to order the drone this week. And then we're going to have more cameras coming. I'm the kind of guy that one camera is never enough. So I want multiple views, multiple angles, so you guys can experience what we experience when we go out here and actually do these things. It's something that is absolutely incredible. There's no doubt about it. And we're going to talk about kind of what happened at Wolf Lake this past Saturday. We'll hit on that again if you missed it Thursday. Chances are I'm guessing that everybody has seen the video because it was put up on Facebook after the fact, and that's where a lot of people seem to be going to. And yeah, we are kind of looking at doing a what's the thing I'm thinking about there? Wow, that's amazing how that just stopped when I moved the phone. I'm using the web, or I'm using my iPhone to monitor the video feed so it doesn't get goofy. And the reason why is because this new streaming platform is freaking awesome. All right. It whoops the other one's ass like a beat government mule. It's crazy. A lot more expensive, but it's worth it if I don't freeze up. Just kidding. If I don't freeze up every 5 or 10 seconds. So, yeah, I'm very satisfied with this one. I'm really happy with it. So, first off, I'd like to do, again, thank you to all of our Patreon members. And next week, we're going to give a special tribute to those guys because without you, this couldn't happen the way it's happening. It's growing, and the Patreon is growing with it. And, of course, the more that the larger this thing gets, we're hoping to pick up a corporate sponsor to set off the cost, and I won't be asking for Patreon so much. I kind of feel bad about doing it, but this thing does cost money to run and get these stories out there. And yes, I am putting in quite a bit myself, and that's okay. I don't complain about that. What I'm hoping it'll do is just kind of even out and pay for itself in time. And if it don't, well, I guess we'll put more of a little something extra in here for the time being. We're going to have these at the Celebration of Life for April, Tim, and DeWayne May 8th too. Not for sale. They're giveaways. That's something. And also, this ain't a big deal, but my daughter loved them. It's, let me see if I can get the glare out of that. There you go. They're pins that like go on backpacks and stuff. She said, Dad, we ought to get pins. And I thought, hell yeah, that's cool. Let's get some pins. Yeah, you can write with them and and she's doing this. Dad, if brains were gunpowder, you couldn't blow your nose. Pins, Dad, pins. And I was like, okay. So that's what we did. I love my baby. I love my kid. I love my child. She's absolutely great. And it's a good idea. People put them on backpacks. Some people put them on their jackets and wear them. And they're great conversation starters. And if somebody ever asks you, hey, what's the Mountain Mysteries? You can say, well, it's a podcast where this dork goes live on Thursday nights on Facebook and rambles on and carries off and flaps his gums. And apparently some people seem to like it. They watch him. And congratulations to the Mountain Mysteries, because I was looking at the video that we did Tuesday. And, not everybody can watch when it's live. I get that. People have lives. You got family functions, and yes, be there for them, be there for your kids. You watch this thing later. And you may see a little bit of a flicker here and there on the stream. It's not the program. It is our internet connection here. If it gets below 60 or rains or a gnat farts, then it's going to go and go nuts here for a minute. Thank you very much, ISP, the internet service providers, for that. Anyway, recap of Frozen. A lot of people have heard it by now. If you are a Patreon subscriber, you get these episodes on Tuesdays at the latest, but they always become public on Fridays. So, if you can't do much in the way of donating money or supporting the Mountain Mysteries financially, you can do a lot by supporting the Mountain Mysteries by liking the podcast, sharing it with other people, talking about it, giving us a 5-star review, writing us, that's the 5-star review part. I don't know that you can write those on the other ones, though, like Spotify and Google and all that. I guess you can, but I know for a fact on Apple you can. And I would really appreciate the daylights out of that, because that helps us more than it draws attention to us. Right now, there's people out there going, Mountain Mysteries, what is that? Then they see a 5-star review where people have written some really kind words. And they, okay, well, that episode's 30 minutes. What have I got to lose? I'll take a listen to it. Some of them are a little longer. Some are a bit shorter. And they take a listen to it. They subscribe. And the next thing you know, they're telling their friends, hey, did you hear about this thing called the Mountain Mysteries? It's really kind of creepy in some spots, and it's a little more lighthearted in others. And that's the nature of this. There's 10 million podcasters out there. That's just me throwing it out. And there's 20 million kinds of podcasts. A lot of people that do what I do as a digital content creator do more than just one. I'm doing one. This is what I'm doing. The Mountain Mysteries, and under that flag flies what you're watching right now, Gatherings. This is to support the podcast, although I got a sneaking suspicion it's going to be a little different one day. The podcast is going to be supporting the video streams and the video that we play on YouTube, Facebook, and not to give away anything yet, but possibly Amazon Prime. So anyways, it's all about getting these stories out here. And when you put the people that we love and lost first, keeping their memories alive, it's amazing what can happen. I've long since said, I'm not smart enough to do this. God has his hands in all over this. And for all I know, my parents, April, DeWayne, Tim, because I do believe that once you reach the promised land, the other side, whatever you want to call it, I think that you're privy to information that we as people here in this life just simply don't have. You can call me crazy for thinking that, whatever, but it's an honest belief of mine. So A recap of Frozen is number one on my list for this evening. Frozen in Breathitt County, July, was it 4th and 5th of 39. Here's the thing. I have work that is incredibly near Frozen in Breathitt County. And I'd always heard that Frozen was haunted. Well, I'm the kind of guy that says, well, show me the ticket on that. Let me see where you bought that. I'm not saying it's not, because everything I've learned about paranormal, which is very, very limited, thank you, shows that the spirits of those that are unrest are typically unrest because they suffered a violent, traumatic death in a certain place, and they seem to tie to that, or just a tragic death, which was, violent and traumatic and tragic. Those three words fit Frozen. The number of people who lost their lives there is heartbreaking. So when people look at me and say, well, your podcast isn't very, very funny. Hell no. What is funny about the loss of human beings? What is funny about the loss of life? Not a thing that I can think of would humor remotely tied to this. People get a kick out of me because I'm an old country boy from the hills of Kentucky. And I use certain phrases like pissant on a popsicle stick, boar hog on a corn cob, harder than a night in the Mingo County jail, whatever. I use phrases like that because it's just how I relate points. It's not meant to necessarily be humorous, but hopefully it lightens up the mood long enough for you to be able to continue listening, because I know as a listener, and as a listener of this podcast myself, because yes, I beat myself to death every day I get in the car, or every time I'm stretched out, because I listen to this consistently, looking to see, how can I do better? How can I bring these people more pride? How can I make these people feel not as bad? There ain't no making you feel better. It's like Sharon told me, we can have justice until the cows come home, but the only day of closure is when it's our time to leave this world and our loved ones come to get us. I have to agree with that one. I have to agree with it. And what a beautiful day that'll be, like I've said, but it'll be in God's time. So if you've not checked out Frozen, which I think was episode 6, check that out. It's about 30-40 minutes long, something like that. I had a really sweetheart. She was a great lady. Actually put us a message on her, said, I listened to this going to work. She said, it's something that my kids can listen to if I'm taking them to school. I listen to it going to work. I listen to it at work. She said, and never once am I ashamed to, because you're not on there dropping words at will that I would not want my kids to hear. You are welcome. Thank you. Class, not ass. Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. Coming up at the end of tonight's stream, we are going to give you a 15-minute preview of episode 19. It's called The Watcher, the mountain mystery of 657 Boulevard. There is an F-bomb in that preview dropped, because it's not me saying, well, it's me saying it, but it is in the script and the response to what a police officer was talking to the owner of this home for. If you liked the mountain mystery of 22 Mine Road, Mamie Thurman, well, this one's going to knock your socks off. I mean, it's a whole level of wow. You're going to hear that here shortly, so just stick around, stay tuned. Grab you a snack, grab you a drink, and just check this stuff out, because it's really pretty cool. So now we're going to talk a little bit about, make sure that you check out Frozen and give us 5 stars on that and write a review if you don't care. This is one that night that's going to yank your heart out of you. I produced the thing. I told the story. And I bawled when I heard it, when I was putting it together. And I sit back and, there's a thing in audio, and I ain't going to get into a bunch of detail on this because nobody really gives, 2 rats' rear ends. But we master the audio in this studio. Now, all mastering is basically, the rough cut form is you take the loudest part, the smallest part of the audio, and you make it all sound even. That way you're not turning it up and down and turning it up and down and all that crap. To me, that's just, pardon my language, piss poor podcasting. That's piss poor audio management. I don't do that. I learned years ago better than that. But in the Lake of Tears, that is all about DeWayne Lovelace. That is about his family. That is about the people who love and care about him. And there's so many more than you can possibly know. So this is one of those things where I'm like, well, okay. As I was writing it, I sit down and I always try to be relatable. What was the day like? What was the conditions like? Kind of get you in the frame of mind of what happened that day, what was going on, who was where, what was what. When you hear from the family, don't be surprised if you have what I like to call memories or even thoughts or feelings running down your cheek. These people are in pain. And I can't sympathize, but I can empathize with them. Like I said, I lost my parents in the natural order of life. I miss them every day. So I cannot imagine, and I've said this to Sharon, I cannot imagine what it is like to bury your child. That is a level of hell that nobody deserves. Not even would I wish this on my worst enemy. I really don't have any enemies, I don't think, but the day is still young. To see your child laying in a casket and to know that the last time that they close the top of that thing, that's the last time that you're going to see them in that form on this earth. You see, I'm blessed beyond measure. I've got a beautiful, healthy daughter who's happily married, got a great career, working at, in all honest opinion, and yes, the numbers back this, the biggest radio station in this region. And she works for a good friend of mine. She, she works with great people. She works with good friends of mine, and Gorm and Carla, and some of the other folks I don't know there. I've met them a time or two, but they're great people, and they do a great job. They do a stellar job, which is something else I want to throw in there. The Mountain Mysteries is now part. I've not really, like I said, I've not stopped partnering with Q95 WQHY FM, and I'm proud of that. For a little bit over 10 years, I wore that moniker. I was a part of the team that made that radio station, from the management straight on down to, the guy that answered the phones and cleaned the toilets. That's me. I was a part of that team, and I was very proud of that. And I can honestly say that there's days I really miss that, and I look forward to what's next. I always look forward to what's next. So, but I'm really happy to say that we are partnering with it. As a matter of fact, today somebody came in and said, "Oh my God, I heard your ad on Q95 FM. I heard your thing about the Mountain Mysteries," and and I said, "Well, that's awesome. That's awesome." And sure enough, I checked out our numbers, and our numbers are going pop, 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 because all radio is word of mouth advertising. It's word of mouth marketing. It's like me coming up to Stacy and saying, "Hey, Stace, did you see that new movie? Or did you check out the new coat they have at Mineshaft Harley? Or did you see this or what?" It's no different. It's just done on a repetitive basis. And they give you music, really cool music to listen to in between. It's pretty awesome how that works. What happened last Saturday? Like I said, I go off on tangents. I'm sorry. One of these days I'll grow up and quit doing that. We met at a gas station at the lake last Saturday in Wolf County, and we went to Wolf Lake. Well, there's this big overpass, and I'm assuming that that's on the Mountain Parkway. I'm going to shrink this so I can join the chat. Okay. There we go. It was absolutely mind numbing, but it wasn't until, because basically that goes from a 2-lane road into a 1-lane no fault road. And I'm sitting here thinking, great, we're driving on a damn goat path. No, that wasn't a goat path. The goat path was to come. Thank you, Herbie, for showing me that goat path. But anyways, we get up there and we meet under this picnic shelter. and we're talking. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate that. Listen to us all the time on Q95. And I asked Herbie, I said, okay, so where was DeWayne recovered? And now Herbie is DeWayne's dad, by the way. But Herbie looks at me and he says, well, I can do you better than telling you. I'll go take you and show you where he was found. And I said, okay, great. Lead the way. And he did. And it was Herbie and Marie and Sharon and Stacy and Lloyd and Allie and I went over there. And he showed us. And Stacy had a total of 3 meters. And if she's on here, maybe she can tell us exactly. I know there were 2 K2 meters. I'm not really sure of exactly what that meter was. If she's on here, maybe she can pop in and tell us. I hope. But they were kind of going crazy. And then we all said, okay, well, you can use our energy if you need to. And it lit up like a Christmas tree. Now, these K2 meters, they are machines. They do what they're built to do. Like I said, they don't buy you Christmas cards. They don't buy you gifts. They don't buy you Easter eggs. They don't buy the little American flags on the 4th of July. They don't buy you turkey dinners on Thanksgiving. They are machines. They can only do what they are built to do. And these things are built to measure electromagnetic energy. Well, it was probably you setting them off. Well, hell, there was 6 or 7 of us standing around it. And it never went off the first time until we started asking questions. And then we directed the questions specifically at DeWayne. Oh, that's when it went real crazy. It said, okay. Then it started dying down. And that's when we said, well, you can use our energy. And yes, we got results out of that. This is all going to be on video. I'm hoping that we will have that video coming up maybe next Thursday, or some of it anyways. An EVP recorder. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, so there was an EVP recorder. I don't know if we got anything off that yet or not, because you see 606 Paranormal, although we work hand in hand. They work hand in hand with the Mountain Mysteries. But they do their stuff and we do our stuff. And yes, we do converse quite often. Stacy's at a concert. Well, my prayer is that she gets home safe, and let her know I love her. If you don't care, Sharon, I really appreciate that. But when they do their thing, Stacy will tell me, and she has sent me, the videos that you saw a while back in the EVP thing. She got a hold of that and she said, that's not fake. That is a Class A EVP. She's got ways of denoting that and telling what is happening with that. So, and that'll be available on tonight's episode, or on the podcast, the episode 7 tonight. You'll hear that EVP 3 more times. So make sure that you subscribe to the Mountain Mysteries. And if you've got any questions, send me a personal message on my Facebook, my personal one, not the Mountain Mysteries, but mine, because I get it faster. And I'll send you a link to listen to the podcast. It doesn't cost you a thing, not a thing to listen, and tell your friends and family about it. Excuse me. So anyway, this thing's going off, and it kind of dies down, and I'm like, well, you can use our energy, and we all agree to that. And it says, yes, you can use our energy. The next thing you know, somebody starts dropping memories. Somebody starts talking about the memories of DeWayne. And like the time he was 18 or 19 and 5'10", riding a tricycle down a backcountry road. Yes, a tricycle. I'm going to have to get that video from Marie so I can put it up here and let you guys watch that, because I'm telling you, it's funny as hell, because he's trying to push himself down the road with his hands riding his tricycle. And the mudding incident with him and his grandma Marie, and it's just so much. The guy was a cut up. He was a crackerjack, right? So all of a sudden I look down in this meter, this K2, man, it's like the 4th of July. It's like New Year's Day. It's going off like crazy. And, if you look at the meter, and this is the lowest level and that's the highest, it's doing this. Yes, there was also a thermal energy meter there. That's something that the military's used for a long time in their advanced weapons targeting systems. It tells you where heat's at, body heat. Well, normally a normal person, of course, they're going to have their body heat radiating, which is whatever. But if somebody or a cold spot hits them, that turns a completely different color. And it looked like hands were on Herbie And I think that Marie had experiences. And at one point, Stacy looked at me and she said, "Do the bottom part of your legs feel kind of funny?" And I said, "Well, a little chilly, but nothing." And I looked down and I said, "What are you doing?" Because she had that thing pointed at me, and I said, "What the hell are you doing?" She said, "He's around you now." I think he and I would have got along good because I told him, if this was murder, then we're going to go find who did it, and KSP is going to be whipping some Kentucky country ass. Because what I look for is justice. Justice ain't about revenge; it's about balance. I've said that. But if somebody killed this person, if somebody killed him, then what needs to happen is they need to serve some serious time. And anybody that knew about it, that might have been there, that didn't directly have a hand in on it, oh, well, guess what? Yes, you did. That's called an accessory. You knew about it, you didn't come forward. That's what happens. That's what the courts would look at and say, okay, you were there, you didn't do anything to try to stop it, you didn't come forward to police with any information. Why? And at that point, there is no good explanation. You can say, well, I was afraid. I'm not trying to make them out to be more than they are. But anybody in their right mind, and I don't care if this is a city police force, a county police force, or a state of any state in the nation, anybody in their right mind is not going to go up against them. Now, have I ever encountered a cop that was a jerk? Oh, yeah. Normally, when they first come out of the academy, they're full of piss and vinegar. But not all of them are. I've met guys straight out of the academy. One of them is, I've got 2 or 3 of them that are some of the best friends I've got in this world. And they are sheriff's deputies in this county. Justin, Kevin, Ollie, Keith. Love those guys. And most of them come out of the academy going, man, that was fun. And they learn things. Of course, they learn how to effectively be a part of a team in a law enforcement agency and organization. But anybody would have to be crazy to look at somebody and say, you know what, I'm coming after you because you told on me. And right behind them sits a couple of Wolfe County Sheriff's deputies, Breathitt County Sheriff's deputies, Kentucky State Troopers. Yeah, go ahead and say that. See what happens. It's like a friend of mine once told me, who is now a retired lieutenant, and he was a lieutenant in KSP. I said, so if that happens, he looks at me and says, game over. And he didn't bat an eye. So no, I would not, but like I said, I'm not trying to make them out to be superheroes, even though I think they are heroes. They are men and women. They have families, they have children, they have moms and dads, sisters, uncles, all that stuff too. They're people. They're just people doing an incredibly insane job for a ridiculously low amount of pay. My opinion. So anyways, when we get back under the balloon shelter, by the way, Herbie led us up a goat path. That was a goat path. It's crazy. I mean, seriously, it's like this wide. I thought, Herbie, I'm wider than this damn path. How do you expect me to get up here? He said, oh, you'll be all right. Just go ahead. So I followed Herbie. He was right. I was all right. No thanks to Lloyd saving me from falling into a ravine. Yeah, it was a ravine. It was about yay tall. So it was. But anyways, made it back all right. And we're all sitting around up there talking. And that's when Sharon said, we can have justice until the cows come home, but closure comes when, yeah. We parted ways that day, and the further I drove home, and the funny part is after we went back under that underpass, headed back towards 15, which is the route of I think it's 15, the route of the road that takes us back home. Allie looks over at me. She says, I feel a little better now. And of course I'm thinking, well, you didn't really eat much this morning before we left. So, and we stop off and we grab us something, and she's just going into this, and all of a sudden it's like she's about ready to break down into tears. And I told her, I said, this is what happens. It hits you. If you care. If you care about these people, it's going to happen. And guess what? Doing a particular podcast like this, that is a hazard of the job. If you don't care, you're not going to do it nearly as well, I don't think. I've always felt that if you love something, you're going to do it better than you would if you didn't. That episode drops tonight at 12 a.m., 12:01. Of course, you can download it tomorrow. You can listen to it. Just please, hopefully, if you feel we've earned it, 5 stars and a kind review. The celebration of life, May 8th. Man, this is going to be a blast. I want people coming up there. I hope that people will come up there and have a nice time. If you didn't know DeWayne, that's okay. If you didn't know April, that's okay. If you didn't know Tim, that's okay. If you're coming with a friend, come on. It's all right. The only prerequisite for showing up at this thing is respect. Okay. I want anybody there to respect the people who are going through these losses. Of course, makes perfect sense, right? And also the people that we've lost. You know, we're talking about 3 human beings, and I'll always refer to her as, you know, my sis, baby girl, April, because she was 16 years old in 5 days when she lost her life. She's forever 16. Tim Pennington, one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet, 24 years old. I knew Tim. I knew April. April could be a barrel of laughs. She just had this personality that when she looked at you and she's like, what? And she was doing that thing with her eyes. I just couldn't. I was like, nothing. It's okay. It's all good. I think a lot of people from her past are going to show up there. So I've been told. And I really, really hope so. I would love to meet some of these people. Some of them I know of, some of them I know, and some of them I'm sure I won't know, but I would love the opportunity to meet with you and sit down. We're going to have the recorder up there. It's going to have 2 microphones. You ain't going to have to hold nothing. Just sit down there and talk to me. Tell me about your memories of April, and we'll use it on a future podcast with your permission. Okay. The Mountain Mysteries. I see some new faces in the chat here and there. If you guys are watching for the first time, first off, let me throw up a hey to some of you guys. I'm scrolling back. There's a bunch. Tony Fairchild. Appreciate you being here, buddy. Of course, we all know Sharon. Chris Rowland. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Amanda Blevins. Ashley Trent. Hope that you're doing great. Tanya Vance. Charlotte Powers Hitchcock. We got a lot of great people in here. And, of course, Latricia. I've known Latricia for years. Latricia Ferguson. She's just a doll. She's a wonderful person. Steve Fitch. My brother. I miss talking to you, man. Crystal Rose. And, of course, yeah, Sharon Barron. We all call her Mama Bear. Linda Huff. Linda, it's so good to see you here. Thank you so much for coming out. Rita Smith. Rita, my heart and soul and condolences are with you. I can't imagine. But that's what the Mountain Mysteries is. We are a voice for the people and the families of the people who aren't being heard quite enough, because I've got a great big freaking mouth and I'll stand on top of a mountain and shout until somebody takes me out of this world. I'm not stopping. I don't think that a human being ever dies until their memory has been lost to time. That's what got this started. April Renee Pennington. She got this started. Somebody told me that day in the hallway that, you're going to be doing this. I'd have left them plumb out of the county. You're crazy as hell. What are you smoking? Why ain't you sharing? And yet 30 years later, May 19th, we'll make 30 years. 30 years later, here we are. I was honored to talk to a sergeant today with the Kentucky State Police and invited him to the celebration. And I really hope that he shows. He said he thinks he can. And of course, I invited his family too. I said, brother, we'll feed every one of you. I said, hot dogs, hamburgers, baked beans. I said, poor old Charlie Barron's making enough baked beans to feed a small third world army. God bless him. I love him to death for that. And one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. But it looks as though he's going to be able to come down too. And that's really what I'm hoping. But if you wonder what the Mountain Mysteries is all about, Apple said, and we talked with some people, and it's on the Apple thing. It's where the true crime meets paranormal. Yeah, it kind of is. I get that. It's where the true crime meets paranormal. Okay. Not all of our cases have to do with anything paranormal. Some of them are just downright murder. But, the thing about April was 6 months after she passed, Sharon saw her. She's in the chat. Talk to her. She'll tell you about it. And April was telling her mom, don't go to the lake. Please don't go to the lake. And I think, when I heard April through this device, and she had a very specific way she said my name, Crease. Didn't call me Chris. It was Crease, like the crease in your shirt. She said, help me. Well, Sharon will tell you what I did. I broke down. Had to walk away from the car. And then on the drive home, it hit me. I don't know if she's asking me to help her as much as it was for me to help her family. And all I could say was, you got it. Anything I can do, I will do. So that's what got this started. It was to be a voice for people and maybe to help people. We're going to have a big cookout at the Celebration of Life for April, Tim, and DeWayne. Hot dogs, hamburgers, baked beans. Yeah. Like I told you. Of course, there's going to be soft drinks up there, water, stuff like that. Really hope to see some motorcycles up there. April had a thing for bikes. I know kids do. Most kids do. Some of them are afraid of them. And we're not going to make your child get on a motorcycle to take a picture if the child is afraid of it. But if they're not, and they say, hey, can I sit on that motorcycle and get my picture took? Just about, I'm speaking for myself here on my road glide. Absolutely, they can. Yes. I'm pretty sure that most of my brothers and sisters on two wheels would say the same thing. Heck yeah, come on. We don't want the kids to get hurt. So we'll either ask the parents to hold them in place, make sure they're okay, or we will. I've put them right up there on my gas tank before and said, take a picture and give me a big thumbs up. Yeah. And the kids just get a kick out of that. And I love watching kids smile and laugh. It's just awesome. It's cool to be that young again. Only I'd want to know what I've learned along the way. I'd want to learn now. So the events of the celebration include, like we said, the cookout, a raffle. I think it's 1 for 3, 5 for 8. And some of the things that we are going to give away. Well, let's see here. I already showed you the pin. It's kind of hard to see that light bouncing off of it. But yeah, actually, that's not going to be a raffle item. That's going to be an item that we just throw out. But we are going to do a Mountain Mysteries prize pack or two. Excuse me. That's got these in it. Along with, let me get him out here. And we're going to have different sizes too. Kind of thought you all might like to see it though. Let me get it there. You're blocking my face, but that's okay. And it says, of course, the Mountain Mysteries on it. This is our new design, and it's relatively new, and I'm getting rid of all of them because I tell you what's getting ready to happen. Yeah, I got to show you this one. What's getting ready to happen is we're getting ready to ditch this design. The design will be the same. It's just we're going to add something onto the back. Now, these are the same shirts in red. There we go. So we're going to have some of those to give away. And, of course, some of these travel mugs, tumblers, whatever you call. Going to have some of that stuff to give away. And also, I almost forgot, a smart TV. Brand new in the box, going to be there. And a couple of gift cards. The gift cards will probably be for like 25, 30, 40 bucks a piece, something like that. But those are the raffle items. We are going to raffle off a Mountain Mysteries prize pack or two, which got all that stuff in it. But the rest of it, we're just going to be, I don't know if I'll just be throwing them out there and doing a t-shirt cannon thing. Of course, the cannon is my arm. That's about as, I'm not going to go out and buy a cannon for that. Unless Ellie says to. Also, on a big Harley Davidson 2X leather jacket. It's the real thing, too. That was donated to us by 606 Paranormal, Stacy. And I want you to check out some of this stuff. I didn't know this existed, but I'm old school. I use water in a shower. But this says the Essential Shower Gel, or the Essential Shower Gels Collection. These are scents in travel size, and they're manufactured. Well, I'll let you see it. It's Coors. Of course, when I first saw that, I thought, hell, Coors does sound pretty good right now. But it's not that Coors. It's a different Coors. But that's going to be a thing in the raffle, and just all kinds of stuff. I call it smell good stuff that most of the ladies are probably going to love. So I was like, yeah, absolutely, we'll get all over that. We'll do that. So we're going to be taking raffle tickets on those two, but also sometime around, whenever Sharon says, probably around 3 or 4 o'clock, we're going to do a balloon release. And what that balloon release, we're going to have 16 pink balloons and 24 blue balloons, and then another 20 blue balloons. Those balloon releases, of course, 16 for April, the pink. 24 was Tim's age when he died, and 20 was DeWayne's age when he passed. So we're going to be doing that probably around 3 or 4 o'clock. This is strictly for people to lean on each other, to share the memories. This is not going to be drama. This is not going to be about anything other than these 3 people. That's all it's going to be about. You're going to meet, if you come up and you have not yet met Sharon, you're going to meet April's mom, Sharon. You're going to meet Stacy. You're going to meet the Mountain Mysteries team too, which is Allie and Arrow and myself. And all of you guys that are listening and watching, you are the Mountain Mysteries team. Without you, there's nothing. And then shortly after the balloon release is when we're going to come back over and draw for the winners of the prizes. So what's the money go to, Chris? Well, to be honest with you, the money goes into the accounts of the Mountain Mysteries to keep us going, to pay for this video platform that you're watching us on, to get back and forth as we need to. Now, I'm not above sticking in my own money. I've been doing it from day one. That's okay. I've got no problem with that. But if I can get a little help, I sure would appreciate that. So now, okay. I can pretty much do away with this, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. If I can get it out of the way, that would help. There we go. Okay. That's better. Back to chat for a bit. What about 24 hours? Not sure I understand you, Tony. You can always send me a message if you want, or you can make it on here. What we are getting ready to get into is an episode that's coming up. I'm going to let you hear the first 15 minutes of it as a preview and a thank you for being here. Because I don't want these things kept in the can all day long. I want people to experience them. I want people to hear them. So we are getting ready to let you hear the first 15 minutes of the Mountain Mysteries episode 9, The Mountain Mystery of the Watcher, 657 Boulevard. It always sounds so much better when I script it, when it comes out that way. You need to be warned that the F-bomb does drop in this, and it does it in a very specific way. You can't miss it. And that's what I wanted, because that's what this cop was talking to the owner of this home about when he reveals it. I'm very proud to say that my daughter does the voiceover as the Watcher in this, and it is downright creepy. Her voice acting skills at 19 are crazy. Does she have room for improvement? We all do. I do too. But man, I just think that she waylaid this. It was absolutely so cool. So with that being said, and you've been warned about the F-bomb, right? Right. Okay. This, ladies and gentlemen, is about the first 15 minutes of the Mountain Mysteries, episode 9, a sneak listen, sneak preview, whatever you want to call it. The Watcher, the Mountain Mystery of 657 Boulevard. A Pantry Studio production. The following may contain strong language and deals with adult themes. Listener discretion is advised. It's a beautiful home, with class, character, and in a nice neighborhood. It's the kind of place where your kids are safe, and letting them outside to play is of no more concern to you than turning on the big screen TV, radio, or computer. After all, what could go wrong? When we think of hauntings, we usually think of ghosts, the spirits of those who may have long since departed this world for one reason or another, or in the worst of cases, something like the alleged hauntings of 112 Ocean Avenue. You probably know that one better as Amityville in New York. Oh, but hauntings, like homes, can apparently come in all types, shapes, and sizes. Probably shouldn't have asked that question. You know, what could go wrong? Oh, well, that would be much. As the old saying says, if it seems too good to be true, then it probably is. It was a warm summer night in June of 2014 when a man named Derek Broaddus, had just finished an evening of painting at his new home at 657 Boulevard, Westfield, New Jersey. A beautiful 6-bedroom home, a dream home that the Broaddus family had set their minds, hearts, and almost all of their money into. The sun had set and night had paid a visit when he went outside to check the mail. Derek and his wife Maria had closed the deal on the dream home only 3 days earlier and were doing some renovations before they moved in. So there wasn't much in the mailbox except for a few bills and a single white card-shaped envelope. It was addressed in thick, clunky handwriting to the new owner. That's all it said. And the typed note inside began nicely enough.
Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood.
Oh, but those warm and kind feelings would soon be replaced by a terror that would be the material of nightmares, and soon, nightmares that usually only come in the sleeping hours would be something they'd have to deal with full time. These are the Mountain Mysteries, and this is episode 9, The Mountain Mystery of the Watcher at 657 Boulevard.
I will be the last to fall. I won't shed a tear for them to see. I won't have your name to call. 'Cause I will be the last to fall.
There are over 1.9 billion square acres in the United States alone, and 24% of those are mountainous. The secrets that these regions hold are enormous. Reports of mysterious creatures, strange sightings and sounds, ghosts and murders, and those who have seemingly vanished. They are questions that need asking and answers worth finding. These are the Mountain Mysteries. Here's Chris Sloan.
For the Broadduses, buying 657 Boulevard had fulfilled a dream. Maria was raised in Westfield, and the house was only a few blocks from her childhood home. Derek grew up in a working-class family that lived in Maine, then moved his way up the ladder through hard work, dedication, and devotion at an insurance company in Manhattan to become a senior vice president with a salary that was large enough to afford the then-priced $1.3 million house. The Broadduses had bought 657 Boulevard just after Derek celebrated his 40th birthday, and their 3 kids were already debating which of the house's fireplaces Santa Claus would use. But as Derek kept reading the letter from his new neighbor, whomever it was, the mysterious author took a turn. The writer of the letter asked,
How did you end up here? Did 657 Boulevard call you with its force within? 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now, and as it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s, and my father watched in the 1960s. It is now my time. Do you know the history of the house? Do you know what lies within the walls of 657 Boulevard? Why are you here? I will find out.
The author's scouting had evidently already started. The letter identified the Broaddus Honda minivan, as well as the workers renovating the
I
home.
see that you have already flooded 657 Boulevard with contractors so that you can destroy the house as it was supposed to be.
The person wrote,
Tisk, tisk, tisk. Bad move. You don't want to make 657 Boulevard unhappy.
Earlier in the week, Derek and Aunt Maria had gone to the house and chatted with their new neighbors, while their children, who were 5, 8, and 10 years old, ran around the backyard with several kids from the neighborhood. The writer of the letter seemed to have noticed.
You have children. I have seen them. So far, I think there are 3 that I've counted.
The anonymous correspondent wrote, before asking if there were more on the way.
Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family? Or was it greed that bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me.
The envelope had no return address,
Who am I?
the individual wrote.
There are hundreds and hundreds of cars that drive by 657 Boulevard each day. Maybe I am in one. Look at all the windows you see from 657 Boulevard. Maybe I am in one. Look out of any of the many windows in 657 Boulevard at all of the people who stroll by each day. Maybe I am one.
The letter concluded with a suggestion that this message would not be the last.
Welcome, my friends. Welcome. Let the party begin.
It was followed by a signature typed in a cursive font, signed, The Watcher. It was after 10 p.m., and Derek Broaddus was alone. He raced around the house, turning off lights so no one could see inside, then called the Westfield Police Department. An officer came to the house, read the letter, and said, "What the fuck is this?" He asked Derek if he had enemies and recommended moving a piece of construction equipment from the back porch in case the Watcher tried to toss it through a window. Derek rushed back to his wife and kids, who were living at their old home elsewhere in Westfield. That night, Derek and Maria wrote an email to John and Andrea Woods, the couple who sold them 657 Boulevard, to ask if they had any idea who the Watcher might be, or why he or she had written, "I asked the Woods to bring me young blood, and it looked like they listened." Andrea Woods replied the next morning. A few days before moving out, the Woodses had also received a letter from the Watcher. The note had been odd, she said, and made similar mention of the Watcher's family observing the house over time. But Andrea said she and her husband had never received anything like it in their 23 years in the house and had thrown the letter away without much thought. That day, the Woodses went with Maria to the police station, where Detective Leonard Lugo told her not to tell anyone about the letters, including her new neighbors, most of whom she had never met, and all of whom were now suspects. The Broadduses spent the coming weeks on high alert. Derek canceled a work trip, and whenever Maria took the kids to their new house, she would yell their names if they wandered into a corner of the yard. When Derek gave a tour of the renovation to a couple on the block, he froze when his wife said, "It'll be nice to have some young blood in the neighborhood." The Broadduses' general contractor arrived one morning to find that a heavy sign he'd hammered into the front yard had been ripped out overnight. 2 weeks after the letter arrived, Maria stopped by the house to look at some paint samples and check the mail. She recognized the thick black lettering on a card-shaped envelope and called the police.
Welcome again to your new home at 657 Boulevard.
The watcher wrote.
The workers have been busy, and I have been watching you unload cartfuls of your personal belongings. The dumpster is a nice touch. Have they found what is in the walls yet? In time, they will.
This time, the watcher had addressed Derek and Maria directly, misspelling their names as Mr. and Mrs. Braddus instead of Broaddus. Had the watcher been close enough to hear one of the Broaddus' contractors addressing them? The watcher boasted of having learned a lot about the family in the preceding weeks, especially about their children. The letter identified the Broaddus' 3 kids by birth order and their nicknames, the ones Maria had been yelling.
I am pleased to know your names now, and the names of the young blood you have brought to me.
It said.
You certainly say their names often.
The letter asked about one child in particular, whom the writer had seen using an easel inside an enclosed porch. The letter asked if she was the artist of the family, and then continued.
657 Boulevard is anxious for you to move in. It has been years and years since the young blood ruled the hallways of the house. Have you found all of the secrets it holds yet? Will the young blood play in the basement? Or are they too afraid to go down there alone? I would be very afraid if I were them. It is far away from the rest of the house. If you were upstairs, you would never hear them scream. Will they sleep in the attic? Or will you all sleep on the second floor? Who has the bedrooms facing the street? I will know as soon as you move in. It will help me to know who is in which bedroom. Then, I can plan better. All of the windows and doors in 657 Boulevard allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house. Who am I? I am the Watcher, and I have been in control of 657 Boulevard for the better part of 2 decades now. The Woods family turned it over to you. It was their time to move on, and kindly sold it when I asked them to. I pass by many times a day. 657 Boulevard is my job, my life, my obsession. And now you are too, Broaddus family. Welcome to the product of your greed. Greed is what brought the past 3 families to 657 Boulevard, and now it has brought you to me. Have a happy moving in day. You know I'll be watching.
Just wait until you hear the rest of it. Okay, so You can, I think, online right now, if I'm not mistaken, Sharon can probably hop in there and say something about it. But there are some really awesome shirts that were made, and they were for, well, come on, where you at? There we go. The memorial celebration, or the celebration of life, coming up on May 8th. And, it's just a beautiful layout. It's got April and Tim and angel wings on the back. And I mean, they're just really, I think it was Holly that designed and did those. And man, that was great. Now, in terms of the Mountain Mystery shirts, the thing that's coming, it's not a big deal, but on the back, it's going to say in big white, kind of like, I don't know if they're ghostly letters, if you'd say that, but it'll say "Stay Mysterious." What does "Stay Mysterious" mean? I actually had somebody ask me that a couple of days ago. I said, "What do you mean when you say stay mysterious?" I said, "Well, it's the Mountain Mysteries. It's a play on words." I said, "But really, what stay mysterious means is live your own life. Be happy. You don't have to tell people why you're happy. You don't owe anybody an explanation. Be you. Be happy." That is what it's all about. Okay. So, excuse me again. Allergies are killing me this year. And has this not been the coldest April that you've seen in a while? Well, anyways, guys, I really appreciate you. Please join us on Patreon. If you've got an Apple iPhone, go to Apple Podcast and search The Mountain Mysteries. You can also go to Spotify. That's Spotify. I am the product of my education. Yes. Spotify, and check it out. We're also on Amazon. You can go, "Hey, Alexa, play the Mountain Mysteries," or look up the Mountain Mysteries podcast. You can do all that stuff. So I'd really appreciate, our numbers keep going up, and it's because of you, and God bless you for that. I appreciate that, because the more of you hear this, the more of you share it, the more the stories of April Pennington and DeWayne Lovelace and Tim Stambo and Muriel Baldridge and all these things get out there. Why do I not do every single one like I did with April or DeWayne or Muriel? That takes a lot out of you, and I've got to reserve some. So when I go back, or when I back up a spell and do something like the Appalachian Trail Mysteries Anthology, which is 14 short stories, you get to go on there and pick which one you want a full episode on. I'd love to do that for you. And then we do one like The Watcher, which is based on true events. It happened in around 2014, which was not that long ago. That's all true events as far as we know. What we're bringing to you, we're just putting a flair into it. Not that it really needed one, because let's face it, you go to the mailbox, you get out a letter with no return address, and somebody says, "I'm watching you." That's creepy. That's creepy enough. But I do those like that so I can step out of it for just a spell and say, okay, I did not know DeWayne Lovelace, but I feel like I did. You get attached. I did know April. I did know Tim, but you get attached. You get attached all over again. And right about the time you think, I really can't go like this anymore, something hits you. And you remember why you do it. So you get up and you go do it again. And you do it again. It's like my dad used to say, "Son, it ain't about how many times you get your ass knocked in the dirt. It's about how many times you pick yourself up and dust yourself off. Sooner or later, it's going to pay off." If I help one human being, one family member, one family, if I help just one person see some peace and know that when they talk to me about this, that I don't think they're crazy, well, then it's been worth it, hasn't it? I don't care if I do this for 20 years. If I got 20 years left in me, I don't care if I do it for 20 years. It was worth it to see one person smile again. My brothers and sisters, life is too short to be anything other than happy. We hurt, we cry. The Bible tells us there's a time for every season. Yeah, that's true. But we can't let our entire lives be wrapped up in that one season. For one thing, I don't think those that we loved would want that. You know, when I lost mom and dad, I almost turned full-blown alcoholic. Full-blown. And doing some stupid crap. Then a friend of mine stepped in and probably saved my rear end. I ain't going to mention no names, but he redirected my attentions to where it should be. It wasn't on drinking. It was on doing things that I love to do. Riding Harleys, riding motorcycles, period. Then another friend stepped in with this. I have not been toasted, and I couldn't tell you when. Hell, I stay too busy with this. And with having stuff done to my bike. Really, it's crazy. But I love it. And I've never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse. You ain't taking the money with you. So what you do take with you, though, is the love and the memories. Nothing is stronger than that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing is stronger than the love that a parent has for a child has for a parent. Yeah, do we get ticked off at each other? It happens. I can't tell you the number of arguments I was in with my mother, rest her soul. Of course, looking back on it now, I'm 49, and I realize, damn, she was right. Same thing with my dad. There really wasn't much argument there. If I tried to argue with him, yeah, not a good thing. But it was always out of love. I was lucky. I had great parents, blessed beyond anything I deserve. So yes, we had arguments with our loved ones that we've lost. It happens. It's life. Lay that down. That's a cross you don't need to be carrying. Anybody doesn't need to be carrying that. Nobody does. They wouldn't want you to, so what gives you the right to pick it up and pack it? Don't. Just say, I'm sorry, I love you. Let's start living. And you live for those who have gone on before you. That's kind of how I've done it anyways, and it seems to work. It helps. Okay. Well, here we are, folks. We are wrapping this thing up. I hope that you guys have a wonderful night and a wonderful weekend. TGI Friday tomorrow, right? Something to look forward to. If you know somebody that would like to have a show or a program or an episode done for them or for their loved ones, just have them contact me. Best way to do that, yeah, you can message the Mountain Mysteries, absolutely, but you can also message my personal Facebook page. If you're not on there yet, feel free to add me and I'll add you. I'm halfway to 5,000. I think Facebook allows 5,000, and if I have to, I'll set up a second one. Because what greater service can you be than in service of another? That almost sounded like wisdom. I love you guys, every one of you. Patreon us, subscribe to us, check us out. And until, well, tonight at midnight, episode 7 drops to the public. Get on our Patreon. You can get them early Tuesdays. Got questions? Send me a message. May God bless you and your families. Stay safe this weekend and know that no matter what, I'm always thinking of you all. Thank you so much. I'm Chris Sloan for the Mountain Mysteries and the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings. Stay mysterious.
From one coast to the other, mysteries are everywhere, and we will continue to pursue the answers to those questions and more. Please share, like, and rate the Mountain Mysteries podcast and tell your friends to tune in on Facebook or YouTube. The Mountain Mysteries gatherings are each Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to support the Mountain Mysteries search and help these families, join us on Patreon, or you can make a one-time donation as well. The Mountain Mysteries and the Mountain Mysteries gatherings are property of the Pantry Studios and Chris Sloan, who writes and produces the content. If you would like to reach out to the Mountain Mysteries, please email us at pantrystudio@yahoo.com. Until next time, my friends, stay mysterious.